Hey, welcome to Fun Friday with Pastor Josh. Fun is described as something that provides mirth or amusement. It's enjoyment or playfulness. What kind of enjoyment can we have today on today's Fun Friday podcast? Most embarrassing moment. I was in the Philippines in 2006, and we had hiked up to this place in the mountains as a team, and we were there with the missions team that I was helping do some different things with that team. And Christy was there. We weren't married at the time. We weren't even dating, actually, which is amazing that we ended up dating after this story. But anyway, so the locals had told us that it was a little bit cooler up in that area, and so that we should probably be prepared for that. And being a Montanan, I had a whole different idea what cold meant, and I kind of forgot that we were still kind of in the jungle, really. And so I had a white T-shirt on, and but I had these white pants, like a white tan. Like back then it was only 2006, but I guess that was almost 15 years ago. They were kind of like windbreaker pants, and so for whatever reason I thought I should wear those. And I tell you what, by the time I got up to the top of the mountain, I was sweating. And let's just say that I was very transparent during that portion of the trip. It was. I realized that at one point. I was like, "Oh man!" And I think somebody had told me, one of my friends had said, "Hey, Josh, you're see-through." And I was like, "What?" And so obviously that's everyone's worst nightmare. That's the nightmares that you have and you wake up from, right? Well, I didn't wake up from this one. It was real, and so I tried to cover myself up with I think I had like a jacket or something, and so I kind of got back to the van, and I thought that nobody really noticed. But then at some point during the trip, I think it was brought up, or I said something, or somebody said something about it, and just saying, hey, I'm glad nobody else really noticed. And then they're like, everybody's like, yes, we noticed. We all noticed. We just didn't say anything to you. And to this day, they still tease me about that every so often, my friends. But yeah, that was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. I'm hoping to forget that someday. If you can have a selective memory at some point, that'd be great. So on this Fun Friday podcast, I want to share a couple books with you, as I have the last, I probably will in our subsequent podcasts. I have two here. I have The God of the Long View by David Wigington, which the tagline says, "Trusting a Timeless God in a Hurried World." This one is an awesome book. It talks about perspective and how God sees time, and how we should respond to his perspective of time. And it's a really encouraging book. Talks about how God can use generations, and a lot of the things that he does is it's crock pot versus a microwave in the perspective of things. God isn't one who just throws it in a microwave and says, "Oh, here you go." He takes his time with it, because with that time, like just with a fast food restaurant versus a sit-down restaurant, many times the quality is determined by the waiting period. And so it was a really great read, really encouraging. I highly recommend it. And then Leadership Pain by Dr. Samuel Chand, The Classroom for Growth. And his big formula in here is he talks about how growth equals change equals loss, and loss equals pain. So therefore, growth equals pain. And there's a whole lot of other things in that book that are really, really good. But it just talks about leadership challenges and how we handle the pain that we go through, and how we navigate that. And it's just a great book. And so I highly recommend it. Leadership Pain by Samuel Chand and God of the Long View by David Wigington. So I want to throw just a couple other cool things out at you. I mean, Fun Friday, this is my day off, obviously. This is just my chance to get to share a little bit about myself and allow you to do the same by commenting below your answers to the questions, and maybe asking some questions for future Fun Friday podcasts as well. And so favorite dessert, I absolutely love my grandma's lemon meringue pie. It is by far the greatest one. I love it. I believe my wife now has the recipe, and so I look forward to more pies. And let's see what else. Superhero. My favorite superhero growing up was Batman, because he was the only superhero that really appeared human to me. And so, like all the other superheroes, like Superman and Green Lantern, and although Green Lantern, I guess, I mean, they're human, but they have these superhuman like powers that enable them to do things that another human really can never do. But Batman, like, he didn't have superpowers. He had his gadgets and his smarts and his his attitude, I guess. I don't. So he seemed like it was more possible to be Batman than it was to be Superman. And so as a kid, you wanted to be able to be a superhero that was possible to be a superhero. And so I definitely was a Batman fan. Favorite song right now, because obviously I love music. I love worship music. A couple weeks ago, my favorite song that I was really having on repeat was the Blessing and Graves into Gardens by Elevation. I think both of those are by them. I think the Blessing is by Carrie Joby and her husband Cody. But the one that I've been listening to a lot the last week or so has been Hell or High Water, or Hell and High Water, by People and Songs. I believe it is. Yeah. Let me see. Hell or High Water. Yeah. So check it out. It's good. I think I posted it on Facebook this last week. So yeah, definitely check it out. It's definitely worth the listen, especially during the time that we're going through right now as a world. And so I'm gonna keep listening to that one for a little while, I think. So, well, that is Fun Friday podcast. Comment below your favorite song, your favorite dessert, maybe a hilarious, maybe embarrassing moment. Any books you'd recommend as well. Any thoughts on. So, we love you. Blessings on you. Thanks for joining me today.